Jalen Hurts right now is probably one of the most polarizing, questionable quarterbacks, aside from like the rookie quarterbacks that just got drafted. This is a dude that he only played a handful of games last year, but the impact that he had on the Eagles offense was pretty tremendous. It was almost night and day from when Carson Wentz was the starting quarterback. Carson Wentz, who in 2017 and 2019 was one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, a consensus top 10 quarterback. And then all of a sudden he comes out 2020, they really struggle. And then they put in the second round pick, Jalen Hurts, that everyone had questions about when they drafted him. And now he's all of a sudden been launched to be the starting quarterback in 2021. It's been a roller coaster of a career in general for Jalen Hurts. So why not do a film analysis on whether we think he can be the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles? So we're going to start off with the pros. My first pro for Jalen Hurts. I was really impressed with how he did in pressure downs and pressure situations when he was just kind of thrown in a COVID year to being the starting quarterback for this football team. We have a 4th and 2. This is his first ever start. This is actually in his second ever starting NFL quarter. And you're going to get the Saints in a cover 0 look here. So they're just going to be rushing all these guys. All these linebackers are coming. So Jalen Hurts, as a young player, has a decision to make. He needs to decide where he wants this ball to go and get the ball out. Because Jalen Hurts is athletic, but he's not athletic enough to just run around a free rusher with one-on-one blocking across the board. So he just makes a decision and throws a perfect back shoulder pass to his boy Alshon Jeffrey. And this really impressed me. This is a fantastic throw. He takes a lick, right? You can see from the back angle here. He gets rocked, but he stands in the pocket, stands strong, makes a perfect throw. Really nice to see from a young quarterback, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's also where you see where another pro for Jalen Hurts is just kind of his mental toughness right now to take that hit and, still deliver the throw on time as well.
Yeah, just mentally speaking, I thought that Jalen Hurts was like much farther ahead of a lot of other quarterbacks. So here's another example of a nice pressure down. This is a 3rd and 1, late third quarter against the Cardinals. And this is an interesting scenario because it's 3rd and 1. You're at your own 30-yard line, own 29-yard line to be more specific. You're down 6, 4 minutes left in the third quarter. So this is a scenario where if you don't get this first down, you can't go for it. You're not going to give Kyler Murray and the Cardinals a short field where a field goal makes it a 2-score game. And you really don't want to give their special teams a chance to get a punt return and have the ball at the 30, 40-yard line, all of a sudden 2 first downs, and they're going to put the ball between the uprights, and then it's a 2-score game again, right? They got Kyler Murray, one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the NFL. So this is like we really want this first down scenario. So what they're going to do is they're going to run a rub route. They're going to motion Goddard across and just rub him. Now, what happens, as I'll get the play rolling here, is that Isaiah Simmons, you see him creep up to the line here. They're overloaded. The Cardinals are going to be rushing 3 on this right side, and no one accounts for Isaiah Simmons. And you can see that Isaiah Simmons is going to get here before Dallas Goedert has a chance to get actually past this rub, right? He can't anticipate this throw. It's going to be too early. The timing's not there. So Jalen Hurts has this beautiful shoulder dip, escape Isaiah Simmons, make a play to Dallas Goedert for a first down. Like, he looks like a veteran on a lot of these plays. This is his 3rd start or 2nd start, one of the 2. I think it's his 2nd ever start. And he's making plays like this late in the game on 3rd down. It's really cool to see.
Yeah. I mean, he just shows, like, in special plays like that, the upside that he could bring to the table. You give him 16 starts in a season, or 17 now.
Yeah, lastly, here's the second quarter. Early in the second quarter, this is a 4th down and 3 in the red zone. There's nothing there on this quick out, right? We go back real quick. This is perfectly covered by the Cardinals. There's nothing here. But he just does a great job keeping the play alive, finds Greg Ward in the end zone. Touchdown on 4th and 3. Like, Jalen Hurts, when he was elevated to the starting quarterback of this offense, gave this team new life on these 2-point conversions and fourth down scenarios. This is a team that, when they won the Super Bowl in 2017, was one of the best 2-point conversion, fourth and short teams in the NFL. And then they kept that identity. The data analytics says, hey, we should be an aggressive team. And then you saw for a large part of the season, they were one of the worst teams at it. They couldn't convert these fourth and thirds and 2-point conversion, short yardage scenarios to save their lives. But then once Jalen Hurts was the quarterback, it was new life to this team. All of a sudden, when they were asking Jalen Hurts to make plays on these different scenarios, he was actually converting them. And one of the reasons why, like we saw in that last play, was how good he was at off-script plays and extending plays. So you're going to see here's an example where Jalen Hurts just extends a play. Something that Carson Wentz kind of struggled with. He's just going to extend this play here, escape the pocket. So they have almost like this smash, this extended smash, more like a 4 verticals, where you have this number 3 taking this middle high safety, another seam, and then this, instead of this number 1 going vertical, you have him stopping up at the sticks, which is really putting this corner in the top right, in a bind. Does he want to go with this vertical deep, or just leave, his guy wide open right at the first down marker? And this is in part caused because Jalen Hurts extends this play with his legs, escaping the pocket, and stretches these zones. And Zach Ertz just ends up being wide open down the field. He also does a really good job of keeping his eyes downfield when he is scrambling. He's not just looking for the run. He is very much looking for the throw downfield and putting defenders in conflict scenarios. And then also, just as everyone has probably watched, you didn't need to watch the All-22 to see this, just his running ability. You can see on this play, I missed it. On this play here, they're running a man coverage, and there is no one open. You can look at every receiver you want to. There's nowhere to go with this football. But the C's part up front, Jalen Hurts basically just gets a walk-in touchdown. I mean, you see this time and time again where teams want to play man coverage. They had a ton of success playing man coverage against the Eagles receivers earlier in the season, but when Jalen Hurts was the starting quarterback, when you play man, you got backs turned, and you're giving him space to run with the football down the field, and he was gashing teams over and over and over. He averaged 69 yards per game as a quarterback running the football.
Yeah.
So you can ask and say, well, why didn't they just sit in a spy? Well, here's an example of why you didn't really want to just sit in a spy. So you see the Cowboys, they have this spy right here, only rushing 3. But what happens is you're just going to leave a hole in the middle of the field, because one thing that Jalen Hurts does well is that he doesn't necessarily rely on the run, A, and B, he doesn't really have a tendency when he runs the football. He's not the kind of guy that, he's always trying to bounce outside of the tackle to his right, or trying to go through the B gap to his left. He does a really good job of, he's going to escape the pocket, taking what the defense gives him. If they spy, well, he's not going to try and extend past the line of scrimmage. He's just going to either sit in the pocket or, float through here and back, and not playing into the spy. He does a really good job of that. So defensive coordinators, you're kind of giving them fits, deciding, well, how are we going to stop Jalen Hurts using his legs? Because he's very comfortable going back, forward, side to side, A gap, B gap, backward, all these different directions. There's not really like a set formula to say, okay, we're just going to do a tackle and stunt and make sure he doesn't bounce outside the tackles, because he's very good at just finding the hole in your pass rush and exploiting that hole. And he's very cool, calm, and collected when doing it, and keeps his eyes downfield. So there's not really like a formula to stop it.
Yeah, like if you compare him to as a runner to Cam Newton, I think it like in the open field also, he's just a little bit quicker. And I think that's also what makes him very valuable in the running game.
So yeah,
rushing attack.
You can tell how valuable he is in that running game now that you mention it, because with Carson Wentz as the starting quarterback, they averaged 116.25 yards per game. That's like, I think, a little bit below average. Maybe it's just about average in the NFL. It's not terrible, but it's not great. With Jalen Hurts as a starting quarterback, they averaged 171.3 yards per game, which would have been second in the NFL to the Baltimore Ravens and ahead of the Titans, who had a 2,000-yard running back, right?
Yeah.
That's a 55-yard difference. That's a massive difference. So part of that was because of Jalen Hurts' skill set, and the other part of that is how this coaching staff would use Jalen Hurts, which was really great. So here's an example of a play that I really liked. This is going to be a play action here to Boston Scott. This is week 17. And you have an RPO here with Jalen Hurts. They try to get this rub with I think this is Goddard here. So this is an interesting play. It's an interesting take in the RPO because they have the rub, but you can still throw the ball in this little hole to Greg Ward if everyone just flows over the top to try and stop Hurts. You have Goddard in the flat in this one, and then he turns this upfield for a wheel for a little second window option, and then Jalen Hurts can, as you see here, just run the ball. So the way that they would use him, they would use him in quarterback draws, classic zone reads where you're reading a defensive end, just scrambling. He would make a living scrambling. And then they had a couple of these fun little play action RPO kind of plays where Jalen Hurts would be the run option. And it's, you combine all of this together, and Jalen Hurts was a real factor with his legs because he didn't necessarily rely on him on using his legs. He was fine sitting in the pocket, but when the opportunity presented itself, he would make you pay. So just all in all, Jalen Hurts' off-script running ability was a huge asset. And the last thing that I really loved about Jalen Hurts, and this is one of my favorite plays that I saw watching his 4 games or 3.5 games on all 22, it's actually a sack that he takes against the Cardinals, because I think it's a really good example of showing how ahead of his time he is as a post-snap processor. That is my third pro, is that I really like his post-snap processing and his decision-making for a young quarterback that was thrusted into a starting role. One of the big problems that a lot of young quarterbacks have, and we saw with Carson Wentz, was turnovers, trying to force things that aren't there, just trying to make a play. So here's an example. This is 3rd and 15, late in the first quarter. They're down 9-0 in the football game. There are a lot of young quarterbacks that'll just really try and get back in this football game too early. They're going to try and make it all back in one throw. It's 3rd and 15. We're down 2 scores. We don't want this game to get away from us. I'm going to make a play here. So the Eagles on this right side of the screen where Jalen Hurts is going to be reading, they're just going to have dagger called. I'll draw it up real quick if I can get to my pen. Is it Shift X? Yeah. So you're going to have this like over kind of clear out, and then they're trying to hit Alshon on this little dig in this window. And what the Cardinals are going to be playing, Shift C to clear, I think. Shift C, bang. Yeah, the Cardinals are just going to be playing man coverage across the board with a robber. So one of these safeties, I believe it's him, is going to come down and be sniffing anything in the middle. And then you have this safety who stays staggered over the top, right? Pretty standard stuff. And what a lot of young quarterbacks expect to happen is this safety to run with this over, right? You're expecting this safety who's kind of just reading the quarterback's eyes and looking for anyone. You're expecting it when a guy crosses his face in a zone for him to follow that guy, which is going to leave this dig with a lot of space in behind. But unsurprisingly, NFL safeties are pretty damn good. They understand that first guy is a bait, and they're looking for this dig underneath. So Cardinals defense is a great call for them, and they do a good job of not taking the bait here, right? You see Alshon Jeffrey just basically stops, and Jalen Hurts immediately says no to this concept, and he ends up taking a sack. But I really like how he says, no, I'm not falling for the bait and making this throw, which is a would-be interception. I'm just going to take the ball down and not do anything stupid. Live to fight another play. I'm just going to live to fight another play. And this reminded me of another film analysis that we did earlier in the year with Sam Darnold. This is the same play. And against the same concept, they're just running it from a 3-by-1. So he's going to be this vertical, and he's going to be the dagger on the outside. And the Seahawks are in the same coverage. Jets, late in the first quarter, down 7-3. Sam Darnold, you just think about the scenario. You're losing every football game. You're the Jets. You haven't won, I don't think, up until this point. You're trying to just make something happen. It's a 3rd and 8. Let's get back in this game. And Sam Darnold takes the bait. He thinks, oh, well, Jamal Adams, he's going to run with this over, but he doesn't. He's sniffing the eyes, and he drops a would-be interception. He's lucky that's not Minkah Fitzpatrick or Budda Baker because they're taking that to the house. Yeah. Yes, that was a dig on Jamal Adams. So I just really like how Jalen Hurts, just that play alone, shows me, well, wow, like really good post-snap decision-making, post-snap processing, because a lot of guys in that scenario are going to try and force that football into that dig.
Yeah, especially from rookies. And I think that's where Jalen Hurts is another pro for him, is just also like he shows you in that play is just his maturity level. It's already like advanced
off the charts. Off the charts.
Players his age.
Yeah, 100%. I really like that because not only is he a great leader, it's just it felt like he was a veteran as a rookie, right? It was actually really interesting to see. And the last thing that I think is really underrated about Jalen Hurts, and I had to put this on here, was that his deep ball and his deep throwing accuracy, his accuracy on the sidelines is really good. This guy is very good at throwing the football down the field. So you get a little example there on a deep out. And then here's a nice little deep ball here from Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts' deep ball is really good. Like, he throws dimes.
Yeah, he does.
And the thing that I like about it is that Alshon Jeffrey was, for the most part, mitigated the entire season until Jalen Hurts was ascended to the starter. And I'm not going to come out here and act like Alshon Jeffrey was an elite receiver last year. I think that Jalen Hurts made Alshon look a little good. Now you add who I think is one of the top deep ball receivers in Devontae Smith. Now you add him to be that number one player in the offense. Jalen Reagor kind of proved on film that he wasn't able to be that alpha number one. He would get bullied at times. Now you kind of put both of those receivers in roles that really suit them. So I think that that's going to be huge for Jalen Hurts in this offense. So yeah, just all in all on his pros, you felt like you got a veteran year one. And like mentally speaking, he's really ahead of the curve and showed you a lot. He did a really good job of taking care of the football compared to Carson Wentz. I understand he had 4 interceptions on the stats, but the stats did lie a little bit. Some of those interceptions, they were very circumstantial. Other pros, he's a model professional. You get a full off season with a coaching staff as the starter, taking starter reps. And up until this point, he's had huge linear progression. We were talking before the podcast about every single year, Jalen Hurts has taken massive strides. Why can't that continue to happen now that he is the full-time starter? I am really excited for Jalen Hurts. But now let's get into the – do you have any other pros, actually, before we move on?
I mean, just like to touch on that linear thing, going back to his college days, I mean, this is a guy who lost his job to Tua, who went number 3 overall. And he went from losing his job to finishing second in the Heisman voting like a year later. So,
number 5 overall for Tua, by the way. Just
number 5 overall. Sure. Oh,
I'm pretty sure.
Herbert went 6. Yeah, Herbert went 6. But anyways, like still top 5 pick. But it's just the thing is, like, I want to see from Jalen with the 4 games. I hope that wasn't his ceiling already. I hope there's like he could keep breaking through it, and there's more to come on. Yeah,
100%. So let's get into the cons here that I have with Jalen Hurts. So the first thing that needs to be said is that this is a COVID year, and he was thrusted into the starting position, and he clearly did not have a full grasp of the offense. So I'm going to try and not hold that against him too much, and we should expect to see that improve. But with that being said, from the mental aspect of things, there was 2 things that I did not like about his film. The first is that he would just straight up give up on plays too early and not really get through his entire progression. He has this Texas route to Miles Sanders wide open, and he just turns it down. This is one of those plays that's like, you just kind of have to hit this if you want to be an NFL quarterback. You're not really gifted touchdowns too often. And you're going to say here, oh, well, he ends up making a play and scoring a touchdown. He was out at the 5-yard line, so don't give me that. That's a gimme touchdown. And that's not a hard read. That is like the number 1 or number 2 read on this play. It's not anything groundbreaking. You need to be able to see that. It's right in front of your face. Before you go and start scrambling, get through an extra read. Just get through your make sure you're actually doing the play before you give up on it, because it's wide open. It happens time and time again. The other major con I had with Jalen Hurts is that he had a tendency to stare at the rush a couple of times. And I think that is kind of part of the reason for that previous con of him giving up on the play, is that he's just looking at the rush too much. So this might be reaching at straws a little bit, but I tried to analyze this. So we can see Jalen Hurts' eyes. So it starts off on the rush, right? You're supposed to look at the defense. Okay, how many guys are blitzing? He sees, okay, a whole lot of guys are coming. There's Zach Ertz is right here on the right side of the screen. Then he starts looking at Zach Ertz, and you see here, you can see his eyes change planes, either from looking at the rush or looking to Ertz. But I think he was looking at Ertz. Now he's looking at the rush again with his eyes change planes. Then he goes back to looking at Zach Ertz. And then his eyes go back to looking at the rush, because he sees right here. Yeah, you can see that little head turn. That little head turn. Now he's looking at number 90, right? Coming around here, his guy's getting beat. And he's saying, oh, crap, it's time to dip. And if we go to the actual play, you are going to see Alshon Jeffrey running wide open over the middle for what would have been a massive play. He is wide open. I understand this is tough, right? He's a young quarterback. Obviously, he's going to be a little flustered when you blitz the shit out of him. But it can't be rush, Zach Ertz, rush, dip. It's got to be, let me see the rush. Let me look at Zach Ertz, get to my second read. If it's not there, then I feel the pressure and then dip, right? It can't just be, you can't look at the rush that much. You just can't. You have to feel it. You have to understand, okay, I see who's coming, see it out of my peripherals, but still get through at least 2 guys, because this is a great play call up here. You have a nice little switch release up at the top. And his guy's going to get – this is unbelievably good leverage on this play. He's guarding him from 10 yards away. That is the perfect play call that Doug Peterson, this Eagles staff, put Jalen Hurts into, and he needs to take advantage of it. Okay. This is the biggest issue, though, I have with Jalen Hurts. And this is easily something that he must fix. His footwork is bad, and it is the number 1 cause for his accuracy issues. And his accuracy issues are mainly on the easy throws, the short throws over the middle, the little in-rhythm throws. It is 100% due to these 2 guys right here. So you're going to see he's extremely toesy. He's always on his toes when he's throwing the ball. It is incredibly difficult to be consistently accurate when you're throwing on your toes and you're heel clicky. You just can't do it. You can see he's bouncing on his toes. His back foot, his cleats are not in the ground. And it leads to so many consistent accuracy issues. There's one example here. We can get to an example here. There's countless examples on the film of this where he's on his toes. He's not throwing with his cleats fully in the ground. His feet are too close together. His base is weird. And he is incredibly inaccurate because of it. If you don't believe me, we can look at Aaron Rodgers. Look at Aaron Rodgers' feet. All his cleats are in the ground when he throws this football. It's fluid. It's clean. Look at his feet. It's just calm. It's cool. All his feet in the ground. Let's look at the other GOAT. Let's look at Tom Brady. Look at his feet. All his cleats in the ground, not heel clicky. Just all those cleats in the ground. He's consistently accurate over the middle. Tom Brady made a killing on the Patriots, just dinking and dunking the football a lot of time, being consistently accurate. If you want to play in this league, you have to make the easy plays. You have to. So, yeah, it shows up all over the place. This is easily his number 1 issue. When he wants to go pivot and play quickly, right? He struggles. He's looking down the field. wants to quickly hit his check down. His feet are all over the place. And he's incredibly inaccurate because of it. He needs to work on this. So then the other thing too, this is another like footwork based issue, is that his throwing off platform is not good. And it's slow. That's the other problem. It's not only because it's fine when he's in space, but when he's under pressure and he has guys in his face, his off platform throwing is just not really bad, but it needs improvement. So here's an example here. It's going to be one of these naked boots. And there's going to be pressure in his face here. He's going to look at the flat, and he's going to see right there, Zach Ertz is open. Let me rewind this slightly. I want to get the exact moment to when he sees. Right there, he sees exactly, I want to throw this to Ertz. These defenders are 5 yards away. This is enough space to make this throw. You need to, in one clean motion, get your hips flipped 180 degrees and flick this ball out quickly. He takes like 2 jumps. There's one jump there to get to the sideways position and a second jump to get into his throwing position with a long, windy kind of throw for an incompletion. If this is one of the top quarterbacks in the league, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, they're in one clean motion, getting their hips flipped around and flicking the ball out on an arm angle. Jalen Hurts needs to be able to do that if he wants to compete with these guys, because this is a completion that you need in a lot of games. I think this is a 2nd and 8, so you're living to fight another down. But if this is it's 2nd and 8 versus a first down, or 3rd and 8 versus a first down in a close game, they lost this game by a touchdown. This could be the difference between a win and a loss. These kinds of plays.
Yeah.
So then, okay, my thing's not working. So yeah, now we just get into an example of his clear off-platform throwing with a guy in his face. Just inconsistent. Throws in the dirt, right? He needs to improve on off-platform throws at guys in his face. It's tough, right? This is nitpicking a little bit, but he has to improve on it. So here's off-platform from in the pocket with a guy in his face. So his right guard on this stunt's going to get driven back into him, and he underthrows this football. This is a beautiful call from the Eagles staff on this Mills concept. So I run this 2 high safeties. Mills is a really good concept to call against 2 high safeties. Hey, come on, give me the pen. There we go. So you're going to get this dig over here, this basic, and a post. And what happens is this safety, especially a lot of the times in cover 4, any sort of quads coverage or like cover 6, this safety is responsible for this number 2 guy. So he'll bite forward, and then you have a post on outside leverage, that corner. So it's just naturally a pretty damn good call to run. But because of this pressure in Jalen Hurts' face, he's going to underthrow this football pretty drastically by a couple of yards. And it gives this corner, Patrick Peterson, I believe that is, all-pro level corner. He's going to make a play on that ball if you underthrow it that much. Now, this is a tough play. This is not an easy throw by Jalen Hurts. But if you're going to compare him to the top quarterbacks, well, you're going to have to be able to make this throw slightly off platform, a little wonky. This is the NFL right here, the difference between college and the NFL. You got to be able to make throws with guys in your face. And that's where Jalen Hurts has just struggled up until this point. Clearly, those 2 issues, just his footwork on these short throws and his off-platform throwing mainly with guys in his face. Those are 2 major issues. The bright side is that he's got a lot of the hard stuff down. Generally speaking, the hard stuff to get down, like we saw with Sam Darnold, is making sure you're not taking the fast enough. Mentally speaking, Jalen Hurts plays fast enough. He just needs to get his feet and his shoulders and his throwing mechanics to play as fast as he mentally processes things. And that just kind of comes with repetition. You can teach that. You can 100% teach that.
That's what the thing is, like, with COVID and him not getting fully like first team reps for and then just being thrown in the fire, now knowing that he's the number 1 guy and he's getting all these reps at OTA right now and everything, you would feel like the new staff is really hammering hard on his footwork, and that just over time, hopefully it becomes muscle memory for him.
Well, kind of like we were saying earlier, if he keeps progressing at the rate that he has been every year since college, dude, he's going to tackle these minor issues in no time. Like we could
Yeah, I
see
mean,
him tackle him by the start of next season. He might fix a lot of this stuff.
yeah.
So, all in all, Jalen Hurts, is he a franchise quarterback? Well, that's a tough question to answer because it really does depend on whether or not he can overcome a lot of these minor issues. But if I were the Eagles general manager, if I were Howie Roseman, I agree that I and they made the right decision in passing up on drafting Justin Fields and Mac Jones. I think that was a good move to try and give the Jalen Hurts experiment a run because I think from what we have seen on tape and how much he has improved, that he deserves and is worth taking a shot on to be your franchise quarterback. You know, at the end of the day, you still need coaching. And I think that that's the big concern that I have is Nick Sirianni and these guys going to be able to put him in a system good enough and show him the steps that he needs to take to really develop him? I don't know. But I think that from what I've seen, Jalen Hurts definitely does have the potential to be a franchise quarterback. He has a lot of the hard stuff down. Does he have a good deep ball? Does he play fast enough? You know, all the stuff that he needs to fix. Like there are a lot of minor issues, but they are minor issues at the end of the day. And with how much we've seen him improve, I am on the Jalen Hurts bandwagon. I came away from this film analysis much more confident in Jalen Hurts. And I think that my initial analysis on Jalen Hurts was before the pod, but I did not think I would have taken him with a second round pick. I was wrong.
Yeah, I definitely think he's worth a shot. And the thing is, like him being a franchise quarterback, that's me thinking that he's going to be there for the next 10 to 15 years. And, you know, I think he's going to have to prove me wrong a little bit. I don't see it. I think he's a durable starter in the NFL for sure. And it's just for me to label him a franchise quarterback for me. I think he could definitely win you football games. But I'm not sold on him being like a franchise kind of guy yet.
The problem with him being a franchise quarterback is that he clearly does not have that elite level arm talent. So
Right, that it factor. Like, you know, it's just like
I think he has the it factor. I don't think he has the elite level arm talent factor. Like if you're going to compare him with Sam Darnold, they're almost polar opposites. Where Sam Darnold has the arm talent, he needs what Jalen Hurts has got, right? And that's usually the problem with quarterbacks is that they don't have what Jalen Hurts has. They don't have that cool as a cucumber, you know, mentally speaking, where they're just when the situation gets tough, he gets better, right? And he's just a natural leader and he has that confidence. Like that's usually what you're trying to get in these guys. And they usually have the arm talent. Jalen Hurts is the other way around, but we've seen this work before with guys like a Drew Brees. If he is able to get his technique, he doesn't need to be at the level of Drew Brees because he has that physical talent. I don't think he ever will. But if he is able to just get his minor mechanical issues down, or they're actually pretty major mechanical issues, but I think that they are minor to solve. He gets this stuff down. I think he could very well be a franchise quarterback. He's not going to be one of those flashy guys necessarily. He's not going to wow you like the Patrick Mahomes, and maybe he doesn't have that top 5 potential. But at the end of the day, if you were to ask me, football coach Frank, who would I rather have on my football team to try and win games? Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, Jalen Hurts. I'm easily taking Jalen Hurts. And I think I'm still taking Jalen Hurts over some of the more established quarterbacks. Maybe even like a Kirk Cousins or Kirk Cousins. I like Kirk Cousins. Even maybe like a Jimmy Garoppolo. Like Jimmy Garoppolo's good, but I think that Jalen Hurts has really got it, like that it factor. And I think that Jalen Hurts, with the tape that he showed, would have been a top 20 selection, top 25 selection in the draft.
Yeah. I think what I really liked about Jalen Hurts, and this is kind of more of an off the field thing, is that, you know, the Eagles locker room was kind of distraught last year and lost like during the season after the whole fiasco went down and everything. But like you kind of seen it, like I don't know if you've seen, but like Miles Sanders and other players on that team have said like, hey, listen, like Jalen Hurts walks in here and we know he's like we know he's the guy. Like it's no questions about it because they were asking like, is Jalen Hurts in the quarterback battle? They were like, hell no. Like Jalen Hurts is the guy. Like he's got that natural born leader. So for him to already gain the trust of that locker room that just seemed very split up at the end of last year, I think that really points to how great of a natural born leader. You know, like you saw it at Bama and Oklahoma with those two teams there. I mean, you could just kind of rally around, especially like when he got benched in that national championship game. I mean, he's sitting there by to his side, giving him little insights here and there. I mean, listen, if that was me, I'm sitting on the bench, bro. Like, I'm just saying though. That's one thing I do love about Jalen.
Dude, the thing is I came into this. I liked Jalen Hurts. I thought he was a good guy, but kind of
I
like
think he's an
your
interesting
thing.
project. I think he's an interesting project, and that's why I would take the shot on it. Because, like, you see the potential, you like his mental toughness. He's just got to work on a few things. Like, you could, and you spend a second round pick on him, and that's not like spending like a fifth or sixth, but like, like it's not, you didn't spend that high value pick on a quarterback, right? Like, what if you just kind of hit the jackpot and like formulated a good team around him that elevates his playing? I think that's what they're kind of going for.
Man, I really think that like if you gave me Jalen Hurts as a coach, I could win football games. And I think I would easily take Jalen Hurts over some of these more flashy type of prospects, even some of the guys that just got drafted. Like, dude, I think there's a difference between when you're talking about, like, at least for me, like Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson, because those two guys, it's like, okay, well, they're like
Yeah,
number
they're
one overall pick kind of level, just do stuff that no one else can, kind of quarterbacks.
yeah.
But everyone else, it's like, dude, Jalen Hurts, from what he showed mentally, it's almost like what you want these other guys to have. So I really think that if I were a coach, I could develop him and win football games with Jalen Hurts as my quarterback. And I think the Eagles fans have a right to be really, really excited for what Jalen Hurts provides to this offense. And dude, I really, Jalen Hurts single handedly is giving me confidence in this football team, which is weird to say because we've been bashing a lot of the decisions this organization has made. Up and I think that they finally got it right though with a lot of their draft picks and sticking with Jalen Hurts, not panicking and saying, "Hey, let's develop this guy. Let's give this a go." I think that was a good decision.